it just goes to show you that people in this riding, they really respect their independent voice. They respect the fact that I can go to Queen's Park and I can truly represent them. I don't have to be a brand ambassador. I can ask the tough questions of the government without having to toe a party line and somebody telling me that I can't do or say something.
And I've just been told that one of the candidates who is, well, she's successful. And speaking of Herculean tasks, she's an independent candidate. And she is one of the ridings to watch on my list of 9 or 10. And without further ado, let me welcome Bobbi and Brady. Well, Bobbi and Brady, you did it again, didn't you?
Yes, we did it again when we were told we would never do it again. It's amazing.
Unbelievable. And you know, Bobbi Anna, I knew I would likely have you as a guest on the show tonight. So what I did is, I don't know if you can tell, the color of my tie is purple. Because you see, I didn't want to wear red or green or orange or blue. And what I'm getting at, folks, Bobbi and Brady, who used to be a loyal PC party member, now running as independent when Doug Ford in the 22 election decided that they had their own cherry picked candidate, and Bobbi Ann Brady in her riding is very well respected, very well loved. And there was actually a smear campaign against her during this election. You see, Bobbi Ann Brady once wore a red dress into the legislature. That means she's a secret liberal, you see. Well, what do you know, Bobbi Ann Brady? Looks like the smear tactics didn't work, eh?
They didn't work. And, it's funny, when I wore that dress into the legislature, I made a joke one day. I said, I'm going to land up on someone else's literature. And there it was. But the good people of Haldimand-Norfolk, they went out in spades today, and they voted, and they drove out that vote. And, it's heartening to see people defending democracy, people standing up for, a strong voice at Queen's Park that isn't tied to a party. No monopoly on a good idea, David.
100%. And I think your story is an incredible one. I mean, you go back to when you worked with Toby Barrett, going back to 1995 in the riding. He was well respected as well. And then he retired in 2021, and you had aspirations to run for being the PC candidate in that riding. Bobbi Ann, can you tell our audience what went awry? Because obviously, by the very fact you've won an election twice without a big blue machine behind you, it speaks to the respect and the love you have in Haldimand-Norfolk. So why were you sort of candidate non grata going back to 2022?
Well, listen, I think it goes back to the fact that I had asked some questions throughout the pandemic when I was a staffer, and I had also spoken out against the idea of the ministerial zoning order being pushed for the Nanticoke Industrial Park. There's a proposal on the table to build 15,000 homes out at the Nanticoke Industrial Park, and I think it's a bad idea. And I was very vocal about that. And so I think between asking questions that people were asking us in the constituency office at the time, and also pushing back against that development at the Nanticoke Industrial Park is what, that's the excuses I think that they would use if you ask them.
And Bobbi Ann, I was just looking at the numbers. Not only did you win, it was a landslide. The PC candidate, Amy Martin, I believe, like the former PC candidate, she is a mayor of a local municipality. But am I reading this correctly? You got over 65% of the vote, and Amy Martin, with the big blue machine behind her, got less than 24%. What do you count?
If you're reading that I'm in a vehicle right now. I've been kind of chilling out with my family, waiting for the call to come in. And I'm not a girl who likes to watch the numbers come in when my name is on the ballot. When I was a campaign manager, no problem. But when my name's on the ballot, I just wait for the call. And if you're telling me those are the numbers, David, then those are the numbers. And it just goes to show you that people in this riding, they really respect their independent voice. They respect the fact that I can go to Queen's Park and I can truly represent them. I don't have to be a brand ambassador. I can ask the tough questions of the government without having to toe a party line and somebody telling me that I can't do or say something.
And Bobby, and I got to tell you, if Proline were taking wagers on the election, I would have bet a couple of bucks on you. And I'll tell you, it goes back to 2022, before we even met, before I even knew who you were. I remember going to cover the motorcycle congregation in Port Dover, and everywhere I drove, I saw Bobby Ann Brady, Bobby Ann Brady. And I thought, my goodness, by the sign tally, who is this Bobby Ann Brady? And I said, but independent, what a poor dreamer. And then holy moly, Bobby Ann Brady, wins. Then I learned the backstory, which we spoke about, which is fascinating. And here we are in 2025. I got to tell you, when I drive around the GTA, I have never seen so few election signs, especially on private property. I discount ones on vacant lots. Anyone can put those up. I think that speaks to the apathy of this election in the middle of a brutal winter. But in your writing, Bobby Ann, when myself and ace cameraman Lincoln J went out last week to do a little interview with you, yet again, your signs were everywhere and on private property. So I had a good inkling you were going to run away with this. And one of the things that I do not understand, and we brought this up during the interview, Bobby Ann, is that for Doug Ford, this is personal for him. Last year at the legislature, he singled you out. He was angry. He was saying he was going to make you unemployed. And Bobby Ann, I don't get it, because if the Ford PCs were, say, one seat away from a majority, oh, well, that Bobby Ann Brady, that was, she's the poison in the punch bowl that prevented a majority. But he's got a super majority. Who cares if there's one lone independent out there? Bobby Ann, can you explain why the premier seems obsessed with the fact that you won one single riding?
I think that it's an embarrassment. I think that, what they said in 2022 is, we could run a monkey as long as it has a PC logo on its back. I mean, we saw an interview yesterday in Windsor where the premier answered a question that was asked of a candidate. And, so we see those tight controls. And in one riding in this province, I've loosened his control. And he doesn't like that.
It is baffling to me, again, especially since it looks like the Doug Ford PCs are heading for their third supermajority in a row, which I don't think has been done in this province, at least not in recent memory. So, we're running out of time, Bobby Ann, but of course, the most important question of all is this, given that I can only see your face. What color of dress are you wearing tonight?
Oh, I have a green, like a teal jacket on, and underneath I have some black on. So I'm pretty neutral tonight.
Oh, well, good for you. Because, when you
But
wear, well, I had no idea haberdashery was so politically charged in the province
hey,
of Ontario.
listen, David, when I get back to Queen's Park, you can keep an eye on all the colors that I wear. It's going to be fun.
Well, that is fantastic. Bobby Ann Brady, I want to thank you for coming on, making some time for us. I want to say congratulations. And I guess a word to the wise, folks, whether you're a certain ex-NFL quarterback or a particular Ontario MPP, never bet against someone with the surname Brady. Bobby Ann, a pleasure as always. Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
You too. Take care. And that was Bobbi Ann Brady in the riding of Haldimand-Norfolk, who pulled another rabbit out of the hat, really, folks. As I've said, if you're a startup party or if you're an independent, it is a Herculean task to make headway. And Bobbi Ann Brady did it in 2022, and she did it in 2025. Even though Doug Ford seems obsessed with the fact that the PCs lost that solitary lone riding in southwestern Ontario. Unbelievable. So good for Bobby Ann. What a win.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.